right, before we get into this, I want to start by saying something. I'm a Panthers fan. That's obvious. So I already know some people are going to assume that Bryce Young is my top quarterback in the division. He's not. And honestly, I don't think that should be a controversial statement because when I started pulling these rankings together, I realized something. The NFC South might be one of the hardest quarterback divisions to have an evaluation and ranking, not because the division has four elite quarterbacks. Honestly, it doesn't. But because every quarterback has a completely different story. You got Baker Mayfield, who has already proven he can win games in this league. You have Bryce Young, who finished last season playing the best football of his career and trying to prove that he's the franchise quarterback Carolina believes that they when they drafted him. You have Michael Penix Jr., who has all the physical talent in the world, but still has a lot to prove as a full-time starter. And then you've got Tyler Shough, who might have the widest range of outcomes of anyone in the division. So today I'm ranking every starting quarterback in the NFC South heading into the 2026 season. And before we get started, I want to explain my criteria for this list. It isn't about who I think will have the best career. It's not who I would have drafted if every player came out of college today. It's who I would rank right now heading into week one. So before we get into rankings, I think it's important to talk about why this division is difficult to evaluate. If you look around the NFL, most divisions have a clear answer at quarterback. The AFC West has Patrick Mahomes. The AFC East has Josh Allen. The AFC North, Joe Burrow and Lamar Jackson are battling for those top spots. Truly elite quarterbacks separated themselves. The NFC South doesn't have that guy right now. And that's what makes this division interesting. Every quarterback has a legitimate chance to be the top guy at the end of the season. Baker has experience, Bryce has upside, Penix has talent, and Shough is a mystery who has shown through a short sample size of what he can do. And the question isn't just the talent. The question is who can consistently play quarterback in the NFL for the entire season. Before you start disagreeing with my list, and I know some people will, I want to explain what I'm looking at. When I rank quarterbacks, I'm not just looking at arm talent. I'm looking at everybody in the NFL can throw the football. These are the best football players in the world. I'm looking at decision-making, consistency, the ability to handle pressure, and most importantly, how much confidence does that quarterback give his team that they can win each week because of him? Because at the end of the day, if you're not actually evaluating the product of the field, this just becomes a predictions list. And that's not what this is. A quarterback's job isn't just to make incredible throws. It's to make the right decision over and over again. The quarterback who does that are the ones who separate themselves. So at number 4, I have Michael Penix Jr. Now, Falcons fans, I want you to hear me out. I understand why people are excited about Penix. His arm talent is obvious. The guy can make throws that very few quarterbacks in the league can make. His deep ball is impressive. His confidence is impressive. And he showed that last season. And Atlanta clearly believes in his future. My problem isn't his talent. It's the experience. We've seen the flashes, but we haven't seen the consistency over an NFL season. And that's the complete different challenge. And that's a completely different challenge. The NFL is full of quarterbacks who can make highlight throws. The difference between being talented and a franchise quarterback is doing it every single week. The biggest question for Penix is simple. Can he be consistent? Can he handle the defenses just around him? Can he be healthy by the end of the season? Could Penix be the best quarterback in this division? Absolutely. And truthfully, I wouldn't even be shocked. But when you head into week one and you truly ask yourself, who is that guy? There's just too many unanswered questions for me to put him above any other quarterback in the list. At number 3, I have Tyler Shough. Shough might be the hardest quarterback to rank in this entire division is because he has a wide range of outcomes. His outcomes could be such a huge wide range. But when you look at him last season, He made impressive throws. When you watch him during camp and all the reports, the Saints are really excited about what he's been doing, and they have full confidence in him coming up for week one. If everything clicks for him, he could absolutely finish this season as the best quarterback in the division. The talent is there. He has good size, good arm strength, and he has ability to make plays outside of structure. But the question for Shough is whether that though is whether the 7 game stretch that he had was just a blip, or is that who he's going to be for 2026? Young quarterbacks often struggle because everything happens faster in the NFL, and defenses, once they get a tape on you, are able to better disguise their coverages, and pass rushers understand how to better attack you. The windows can close faster, and quarterbacks who can process all that are going to be successful. The reports coming out of camp have been his decision making has been improving, and people are talking about his ability to push the ball downfield, especially with Doran Tyson and Chris Olave on the outside. And Saints fans are excited, as they should be. But you have to remember, every offseason, there's a quarterback who becomes a training camp superstar, and sometimes that hype is real. Sometimes it hits, and sometimes the reality hits you when you're in the regular season. For Shough, this season is about proving the potential can become production. At number 2, I have Bryce Young. And if you had told me 2 years ago that Bryce Young would have been the second best quarterback in the NFC South heading into 2026, I would have had a hard time believing you, because there was a point where a lot of people, including myself, felt like Bryce Young was a bust. But football changes so quickly. And the reason Bryce Young is high on this list is because how different he has looked, especially late last season. When I watched Bryce, the biggest difference wasn't just his numbers, it was how fast he was playing. The ball came out quicker. He trusted his receivers and trusted what he was seeing. He looked comfortable. As a coach, that's one of the biggest things you notice with quarterbacks. When they trust their eyes, they play faster. Late last season, Bryce Young looked like the game was finally slowing down for him. But the biggest question for Bryce was that just the beginning of something special, or was that just a really good stretch last year? Because at the end of the day, one strong finish doesn't erase everything that happened before it. He still has to prove that he can do it over a full season. And then there's another factor here. Bryce is entering a huge point of his career. He was the first overall pick. He has talent, but quarterbacks don't get unlimited time in this league. He's still trying to prove he's the guy that Carolina trusted and believed him back in 2023. If Bryce continues building what he saw last season, I think he has a real chance of being the number 1 guy in the division. And this brings us to number 1, Baker Mayfield. And some people are going to disagree with this, but until someone takes that spot away from him, I think Baker's earned it. Now, an interesting thing about Baker is I don't think Baker Mayfield's a top 10 quarterback. For me, he's right outside my top 15. But that doesn't mean he isn't the best quarterback in the division right now, because rankings aren't just about talent. They're about production, consistency, and the things that you've already proven. And Baker has done a lot to prove that he is the guy in the division. He helped stabilize Tampa after Tom Brady left. He's won games, taken this Bucs team to the playoffs. He's handled pressure, and he's shown that he can lead a team. The biggest question for Baker is whether he can take another step, because this offseason is important. Baker's looking for another contract, and he wants to prove that he deserves to be the long-term answer in Tampa Bay. And a little fun storyline that he knows, and his former 2000 oh my gosh, his fun little storyline is Sam Darnold just won a Super Bowl after leaving San Francisco and Minnesota. And Baker knows that there are always quarterbacks around the league proving that they can thrive in the right situation. He's already beaten Sam before, especially in Seattle, and he's already rebuilt his career. Now it's whether he can take Tampa Bay to the next level. Because one thing Baker has right now that other quarterbacks don't is proof. The interesting thing about this division is that I don't think my number one quarterback today is guaranteed to be the number one in January. If Bryce Young continues to play like he did last season, he could easily take this spot. If Michael Penix talent translates, Atlanta could have the quarterback that they thought they drafted. If Tyler Shough develops quickly, New Orleans has a steal in the second round and could be a surprise team to make the playoffs this upcoming season. And Baker's the standard until someone proves otherwise. That's what makes this division so fascinating. There are 4 quarterbacks with something to prove. If I had to make one prediction today, I think this division is going to come down to Bryce Young versus Baker Mayfield, with both those teams fighting for the final playoff spot, almost like it was for Week 17 this past season. And when you look at it, it makes sense. You have 2 former number 1 overall picks who have had different journeys. They're both undersized quarterbacks who've had to answer questions whether they can succeed in this level. Baker has already had his big contract. Now he wants another one. Bryce is trying to earn his first big one. Both quarterbacks know that this season matters for them because the quarterback who takes control of this division is not just going to win games. They're going to establish themselves as the face of the NFC South. So that's my rankings. Number 1, Michael Penix. Here's my rankings. Number 4, Michael Penix Jr. Number 3, Tyler Shough. Number 2, Bryce Young. And number 1, Baker Mayfield. Now, I know some people are going to disagree with this list. Falcons fan, you probably think I have Penix too low. Saints fan, you probably think Shough has to be higher. And as a Panthers fan, I would love for Bryce Young to be number 1. But that's what makes this division so fun. And before I put this article out, I kept going back and forth between Bryce Young and Baker Mayfield. They were strict, and if we're strictly talking about upside in 2026, I think Bryce actually has the higher ceiling. But it's just hard for me to overlook the production that Baker Mayfield has had and his success in this division the previous 3 seasons. But rankings aren't about ceilings. They're about what guys did today. And today, Baker Mayfield has earned my top spot. If you want the full written article breakdown for each quarterback and why I have ranked this way, definitely check the article in the description below. But let me know your comments and thoughts. What did I get right? What did I get wrong? And who do you think will be the best quarterback in the NFC South by the time the 2026 season ends? Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.